But the stories that they told in the documentary, bruh, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more.
Gene has entered the chat, people. If you're anything like me, you was trying to figure out in the documentary, where the heck is Gene Deal? Well, Gene finally entered the chat. So now we know from his perspective what happened. So if you watch the Art of Dialogue thing, I watched that. And basically, according to Gene Deal, one of the executive producers or whatever was doing too much. And so basically he was like, I'm good with or without this. Like, y'all need me for real more than I need y'all, because I have a real deep perspective. Like, I was in that stuff for real. I was there. And like, he has an alternative perspective, and apparently they wasn't trying to pay him for real. So I don't really know how much documentaries are funded. However, like, y'all, this got on Netflix. Y'all could have threw my man's Gene some stuff. You feel me? Because Gene also brings an audience, he brings a crowd, and he brings an alternative perspective. So like, for real, they could have helped my man's Gene. They could have threw him some, because they probably didn't even consider, because in Art of Dialogue, he dropped some stuff. Now, I'm not gonna, I don't want to get sued about this thing. So I'm gonna let y'all watch the Art of Dialogue interview. But what I will say is that I had a hypothesis about the Stampede incident. I had a hypothesis that perhaps that was pre-planned. And you know what? I'm not the only one who had a hypothesis, because according to like different people I'd be seeing in the comments, like, we was all feeling like there was something fishy going on with the Stampede, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. But it turns out, according to Gene, allegedly, and y'all should go watch the video to see the full thing. But according to um Gene, allegedly, this woman closed the door and like locked them in the gym. And he had to like run around the building to like open these different doors or whatever. His man, one of his homeboys, is stuck in the gym with these people. So, and then apparently, according to Gene, they told him to what did he say again? He said like they told him like that he didn't really need to provide security like he normally would. Like, they changed things up, so it caused him kind of to be like, that's kind of weird, especially because the type of event it is. And so there's some people that are saying that this is some ritualistic stuff. You feel me? I don't know what is going on with Hollyweird, but it is something sinister happening. And it seemed like, for real, everybody is involved. Everybody knows what's up. It's like open secret out that piece. But some people are more like Gene, like, I haven't heard, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I haven't heard anybody come out with a story about like what Gene Deal did to them that was a bad thing. Like, and I feel like if he did, then that would have been came out by now. It doesn't mean that he hasn't, like, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, out of the people in that world, it seems like he's a pretty like solid dude, for real, for real. At least from what we see. So I was still trying to figure out like why he wasn't in the documentary, because there's so many angles and aspects that he still could have provided. He didn't have to go into like all the details, whatever, because that's his, whatever. But like, I'm sure he would have added some more stuff to that, some more nuance to it. So they kind of did a disservice to all of us on some real stuff by not including Gene Deal in the documentary. Some people, you have to just make the decision, get that man what he needs. Because I'm certain they could have pulled somewhere, some funding from somewhere to get Gene on that documentary. You feel me? So my mom and I were saying, hopefully, who I would like to see come together to do like a real, incognito type documentary on this dude, would be Tisa Tells partnering with Gene Deal. Um, I feel like just them two, for real, they could have like a whole interview series, because I know Tisa did interview Gene Deal before, but they could have literally a whole a whole series, and I know I would watch it, and I'm like 90% sure everyone else would watch it too, because I like the way like Tisa asks questions, and she was there for the trial as well, just like he was there. And I would like someone to really, really, really go into what Gene Deal experienced and what he saw. And some people you got to respect, like as like a OG type dude. So I feel a type of way that she was doing that. I'm gonna be real. If allegedly, because I wasn't there. But yeah, so Gene Deal entered the chat, so now we know why he wasn't there. We know that, but on the flip side, on some real stuff, that documentary was already shocking enough for me, like hearing certain stories, especially like Aubrey O'Day's experience. That was really, really jarring, to keep it mildly. Like that was intense. So what I like, I don't know, like I don't know how rotten rot goes. Like I don't know how sick goes. We know, we hear, because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'll be the first one to say, like, I just feel like there's a possibility that anything's true. It doesn't mean it is, but like I don't know 100% for a fact that certain things happen or don't happen. So I leave a healthy amount of skepticism about everything. So I just feel like, how sick does it really go? How deep is this? And then I start thinking, like, who else I'm wondering? What they're thinking? I'm wondering what Justin Bieber is thinking. I'm wondering what Usher is thinking. I'm wondering what Mary J. Blige is thinking. I'm wondering what Stevie J is thinking. I'm wondering what Little Kim is thinking. I'm wondering what Faith Evans is thinking. Like, these are people that I'm aware of that were, around you know, that Diddy stratosphere. So I'm wondering what they're thinking. I'm wondering what Kimura's thinking, and Russell Simmons, and like all of these different people. I'm just wondering, because how did 50 get that footage? And then it's like, what other footage is out there? So this is quite the rabbit hole that you could go down if you so chose to, because he wasn't the only one there. And then it's like everybody's talking about how the case was kind of weird, and it's a lot of strange things happening. And we just have to keep our wits about us, and be aware, because you might be hanging out with a Diddy, on some real stuff. Cause one more thing, and then I'm gonna go to make the next video, because I have a lot of stuff to say today. But one thing about it, two things for sure, like there are people who are Diddy, just with less money and less power and less authority and less, clout in general. Like, most people know a sick, twisted weirdo. Most people know a PDF file. Most people know a perv. Like, most people know someone who's an R-wordist. Most people know someone who's been a victim of, pick a poison. So as much as, we can talk about what's happening in Hollywood, let's also acknowledge what the common folk, the community, our community, what some of our community members are actively going through currently. So really, when you see something, say something. But then sometimes, let's be real, depending on who the person is, you might say something a million times to like an authority, and they don't do nothing, which a lot of people can relate to. So it's one of those things where I don't have the solution, point blank. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I got all the answers, because I don't, Sway. You don't have all the answers, Sway. Like right now, I don't have all the answers. You feel me? But I have enough, capacity to pose the question, and then we can practice the art of dialogue. Pun intended. But we can practice the art of dialogue and really see how we can come together as a community to resolve these real issues that are happening in our communities on the daily basis, and, see what happens in the Hollywood space. Because one thing about it, and two things for sure, there is clearly a power shift happening. And you could, like, 50, there's no perfect human. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what type of business he be doing and stuff like that, but I can see the result of people he work with versus the result other people work with. So even if, he takes over and he replaces Diddy, which probably would be better. You feel me? Maybe, you know, what I'm trying to say is like, from the people that were with Bad Boy, you can see how their life is. His artists don't got no money. Nobody around him has any money. But the people that 50 work with, they go on to have prosperous careers. So regardless of like, and I'm even reminding myself this, regardless of who he is as a person, the people that work with him typically leave better off, even when he's being a petty turd waffle. Like that stuff he did with Atari, talking about, I think he made some like really, shrewd or rude comments about her hair. And, I'm not rocking with that. So, you know what I'm saying? But I'd rather have that than someone who's like, knocking people out and SAing them, allegedly. Like, I'd rather I'd rather have someone throw shade at me than attack me. You know what I'm saying? So while I disagree with some things that 50 Cent does, the proof is in the pudding. And then they say you're judged by the fruit you produce. So you're judged by your results. And typically, people that interact with 50 end up better off unless they, interact with him in a negative way and, whatever. And you know what? Also, what I'm going to be looking into, because thankfully some of you guys like pointed me in this direction in the comments about like possibilities of why 50 Cent decided to come at Diddy like this. Like apparently, now I'm going to do my own research, but there's some theories going around out here that apparently some people are saying that 50 Cent used to write for Diddy a long time ago. And like for some reason, Diddy blackballed him and then he became homeless. And then that's why he got pew-pewed all them times. But I haven't done the research to validate that. I saw someone else said that it's 100% because of the baby mama drama. I saw someone else say this, someone else say that. So everybody's kind of just saying everything right now. And I appreciate that because it could be like a mix of everything. Like, because neither one of those things has to be true or false for the other one to be false. So neither one, those are not mutually exclusive. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to do now is dive a little bit deeper into what is 50 Cent's like villain origin story. And he's not a villain by making this documentary, but what is the reason why he did this? You feel me? That I want to know. And that's just me being curious. So I am gonna, follow these little rabbit holes or these little crumbs that you guys left. And then someone else sent me a video of apparently like Diddy got into it with J. Cole. Like I ain't know nothing about that either. So like and like I know that I be under a rock, but like how far under the rock do I live? Because I didn't know anything about him getting into beef with J. Cole allegedly slapping Drake. I had no idea that Diddy allegedly slapped Drake. I didn't know nothing about that. So I'm just like, wow. Wow. And granted, I don't be in the mix. Like, I don't watch the award shows or anything like that. Like, I saw a clip of some people who were supposed to be like winning an award. I don't know who these people are. I get my music now from TikTok. Okay, I find good music songs from TikTok. And I know somebody asked me the other day, what to make like a playlist or whatever. So in the meantime, I'm gonna share with you like my three most favorite recently discovered TikTok songs that are high vibrational, because that industry just seems a little too sick to me. So I'm messing more so with the community people. So my playlist literally is 100% made off of independent artists that I know like previously or literally now from TikTok. And that is 100% how I find my new music. So one is called Within by Alexander 12. Within Alexander 12. Another one is I'm Built Different by Red Lotus. Built Different, Red Lotus. And then this next song, I be playing on repeat, like back to back to back, like all day long. But I have an obsessive personality, so I will like either be all the way into something or I have nothing to do with it at all. So this particular song, like I was listening to it for days uninterrupted. And it's called Motion and Meditation, J Mac So Lavish motion and meditation, J Mac, so lavish. So yeah. Because for real, like I be trying to be intentional with what I do. I be trying to be intentional with my money. I be trying to be intentional with my energy. I be trying to be intentional like with everything in life in general, because regardless of if you're pouring into yourself or not, society and the world is pouring into you, period. So you have to actively be pouring in good stuff to get that negative nonsense that they pouring in out. Like Kanye said, who the kid's going to listen to? I guess me if it isn't you. So if you're not purposely pouring positivity into your own experience, then you will be poisoned, period, by society. But you know what? There's a difference between society and community. The community is going to pour into you positivity, purposefully pouring positivity into you. The society is going to try to enslave you. SSCC. Right? I think so. Whatever. But you got what I was saying. You picked up what I was putting down. And no, some real stuff though, like as a community, we can actively make a difference. Like this year for I was gonna say for Halloween. This year for the holidays, I am only purchasing things from local businesses. I'm not buying any, well, I might. I'm not, but the thing is like I'm not like going to support these conglomerates that are actively participating in the destruction of community. Period. I can't do that. And sometimes it's unavoidable, like, cause like a lot of these companies are owned by the same place. So like it's unavoidable in some capacities, but like where it is avoidable, I'm taking full advantage of. Oh my gosh. I was sitting on my glasses. You gotta be kidding me. And then I'd be wondering why they keep getting stretched. This girl, at least I wasn't sitting all the way on them. That's crazy. Man, at least, whatever. I almost broke my darn glasses fooling with y'all. The least you could do is like the video. Nah, I'm for real though. But yeah, no, like seriously though. So, just think about before you like buy something and, all of these things, think about how you can more intentionally use that and how you can intentionally impact the community. Even like with my donations, and stuff, like I pick things that I know for a fact are impacting the community because I was involved or I volunteered or yada, yada. I used to work at a nonprofit. And so now my monthly donation goes to them because I was there. Or like I used to be a Girl Scout. So I was at a point donating to the Girl Scouts. So for me, it's about like picking something in your community to actively help with, because the thing about this whole stuff, and so you don't get caught up in the psyop and feel like, oh, like a victim, is because like you can't, like for real, there's probably like this much you can do in Hollywood. You probably ain't got no power in Hollywood. You probably ain't got no authority, or as the kids say, you don't have, or like the dudes say, you ain't got no motion for real. So you might not have enough motion to really like make a big change, but you do have motion and capacity enough to make a change in your community, whether that's in the digital space and producing your content because like somebody needs to hear what you have to say. You might not be where you want to be, but you're further than where you were, and you can at least help people get to where you are, because where you are is likely better than where you were. Who you are now is hopefully better than who you were last year. Okay. And so you can help someone who's in the space that you were last year get to where you are today. It ain't got to be perfect, but like, maybe volunteer, be there for the children in your house, be there for the adults in your house, be there for the people around you. Find some way to serve and be of service to community around you. And then you will feel empowered, even with all this nonsense and debauchery, because you can't really do nothing for nobody out there. But you can do something for someone in yourself. You can cater to your inner child who likely needs healing. All of our inner children need healing, period. Once you get past the age of 5, you've experienced some in this life. It's just for some reason that's a part of the bargain when you come here, Everything got to go through something. Even seeds and plants got to go through something. It's probably an odd feeling to go from being this little seed to like stretching, and then once the first time that seed comes out of the dirt and it interacts with air, that's probably a jarring experience for it. The first time it rains, that might be scary for a plant. I don't know. The first time it has a snow, that's probably a terrifying experience. The first time it gets stepped on, or the first time somebody plucks its flower and takes its flower away from it. The first time it gets eaten. All of these things probably impact plants too. And so I like to think of us as like gardens as well. So all of the things that happen in your life do impact you in one way or another. But a way that you can take your power back is be of service, be a hero to someone around you, and not a hero like Batman that lets the bad guy get away with everything. And that's why it keeps happening. I have a bone to pick with Batman, and this is all I'm going to say because he is my favorite hero. But how many times are you going to let the Joker keep getting away point blank period? How long are you going to let the Joker just keep doing what he does? At some point you got to make the executive decision, Batman. Okay. Because at some point it's like, listen, how many times cause like, you don't even have to do it, but like how many times has Batman saved the Joker? Like, and that is part of the programming. So we have to be really aware of that. That is what we've been programmed. We've been programmed that heroes, even when the villain is about to take themselves out, that heroes save the villains. You're taught in your mind from a child that the best thing to do for everybody is if the Joker is about to fall in a vat of acid, save him, Batman. No, let the Joker fall. Okay? So that's another thing that we can take away from this and this whole Diddy debauchery of it all. Don't be a Captain Save-A-H. If you see somebody who's constantly in drama, who's constantly in stuff, stop trying to save them. Use that energy that you have to actually assist people who want saving. But you're going to waste, it sounds mean, whatever, but if it sounds mean, whatever, it's the truth. You waste so much time, and I'm saying from experience, I have wasted so much time trying to do things instead of just doing it, trying to help people instead of just helping people who want to be helped. That's why I work with children. I started a whole business working with children. That's why me and my mom started a business helping people learn how to take care of hair. All these different things. So like, and I volunteer and, like all these different things, granted, I also have the time to do that. So it depends on what your lifestyle is. But the point is, if you can find ways to pour into yourself and be like the actual savior of yourself, then you'll have a larger capacity to give more and show up better for everyone around you. And you can actively participate in helping your community. Even if that's the community is only the people that you work with. Even if the community is only the people you see at the grocery store. Those are still living being people that are going through stuff. So the next time you see a cashier, even if they're looking down, not paying attention, you can still be polite to them. You can still be polite to them. You can still be a light everywhere you go you're judged by the fruit you produce. Even if someone else is having a bad day, you don't have to have a bad day with them. This is how we start to get control of our lives. We see what's happening in those spaces, acknowledge it, but then move back to our lives and actively make a difference. Take all that anger that you feel at Diddy and apply that to your creepy uncle or your creepy aunt. Take all that anger that you have at Diddy and apply that to your craft. Get to the place where you don't even feel like you have to give back because you're already giving. You're not taking away. That's another thing that even like I be studying like Jewish philosophy for real. And they be saying like when you open a business, like the way that they view things is just totally different from what mainstream society speaks on. And that explains a lot. So they say that like when you have a business, you are not taking from anyone, so you don't have to give back. You are already giving. You feel me? You're already giving. And then you also donate on top of that. You also can give your time on top of that. But you don't have to have the guilt and the shame of taking from someone else. You are providing this thing, and people appreciate things that they pay for, period. You're providing a wonderful service. And if you are providing a wonderful service, then you're doing the work. You're serving your purpose, period. And then once you do that more and more and more, you start to feel better about your life. Because once again, there's probably diddly squat, booty butt, nothing that we can do about this whole Diddy debauchery of it all on some real stuff. But what we can actively do is help the people in our direct community every single day. Little by little, a little becomes a lot, period. All right, comment below. Let me know what you thought about this. Let's have some conversation. Shout out to Gene Deal for keeping it real from day one. It seems like, anyway, you know, because real recognize real. And there's some people that you just can sense off rip, like, okay, I could, you know, whatever. Okay, cool. You cool. And it seems like Gene just has like that type of vibe. Like he just seemed like a cool dude in general. So yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next time.